Oh, look at this, guys. If you guys ever been down to the Utica train station, Utica, New York, you see this old steam train. Always wondered what it's all about. Hopefully I can find some more stuff out for you guys. But right now we're just gonna enjoy looking at this beautiful machine. It's so cool. Now, I have never seen a steam engine run in person, but it has to be quite the sight. Maybe one day I get to see that, fingers crossed. But this is just awesome. I don't think we can go inside. Yeah, please keep off. That's all closed up, locked. Good thing, because, you know, people like to destroy things. I'm so glad there's no graffiti on this or anything like that. They must keep a good eye on it. Because, you know, usually stuff like this, like even the fire towers when I'm up in the mountains, there's spray paint and stuff all over. It makes no sense. But look at this, this is awesome. Get a front end shot. Too cool. All right, guys, I'm gonna look around. Maybe I could find somebody and maybe give me a little bit more info on this. I think this was built in 1913. I think there's a sign over here. Let me just go check it quick. Yep, it was built in 1913. The Utica Mohawk Valley chapter. National Railway Historical Society owner. Pretty cool. Well, I'm gonna go in the building. Maybe we can find somebody that can help us out. A little bit more information about this. I'm gonna take some pictures around, some video, some passing trains. Just awesome. I'm gonna enjoy this. All right, let's get it, guys.
Okay, so this type of rigging right here behind this drive wheel, it's referred to as spring rigging. I've only seen that normally on European engines, but on occasion, US steam locomotives normally had this as well. It's a very interesting design, but it's really cool.
Thank you, man. Now what's this this train that we're looking at right now?
So this is New York Central 6721. She was built in 1913 by the American Locomotive Company, or ALCO, in Schenectady, New York. She is a 060 steam locomotive. 060 being 6 drive wheels, and she was cosmetically restored in 2020. There was an incident that happened in 2015. But she has been here. Since she was put on display in 1997. And
something happened where a train car, some boy was playing on it down there, got loose, ran into the train, and it hit the Utica train station. So, but this actually did not run in Utica though.
Nope, it did not.
They purchased it, what, I forget what year you were reading about it?
1997 they purchased it, and it was sold to a couple of places. It was sold to a museum out in Wisconsin, and a couple other places. But it's really cool that because there are not so many New York Central steam locomotives left, because most of the big famous ones, most notably the New York Central's 464 Hudson types, those are no longer with us, sadly. Basically, I'm actually kind of glad, me being a native of where Alco was myself. It's good to know that something like this is still around for generations to see and experience. Know what a steam locomotive actually is, because some may not know what a steam locomotive looks like. Keeping the history alive, yeah, for our future kids. And I'm kind of glad that the NRHS, the National Railroad Historical Society group, down here is, or over here in Utica, is keeping this thing looking just glamorous as it is. Yeah, they did a really good job, man. What's your name? My name is Andrew. And don't you have a YouTube channel? Yes, and my YouTube channel is Iron Horse Productions. So if you guys would like to subscribe to him, he does a lot of train stuff. Anything else, or is just mostly trains? It's mainly train videos. I don't really do any vlogging or anything like that. I never was really into that, but it's a very fun hobby for me to experience these things, seeing all the tonnage going down the track. But I'm mainly a big fan, nerd on these steam engines. So yeah, if you want to check out his channel, you love trains, check out his channels, please subscribe, give him some love. He's a real cool guy. Just me talking to him for a couple hours, just awesome. And what I found out is he actually volunteers at the Milford train station. That was pretty cool. You want to talk about that a little bit? Yeah, so I volunteer, or at least I'm an occasional volunteer as of right now, for the Cooperstown and Charlotte Valley Railroad over in Milford, New York. I really love volunteering my time there, and it's really fun. And we'd like to thank you for your volunteer. Keep the history alive for everybody can see it. But I would just like to thank you, and check out his channel, guys.
And we spent about $40,000 moving it. You know, this is 30 years ago, 35 years ago. So we had to have the locomotive put on a flat car, and the tender came by a truck, and then we reassembled it here and restored it. And it's, like I said, it's one of like 5 or 6 New York Central steam locomotives left in the world, and one of them's back here in Utica, and it's Schenectady built too, 1913.
Jeez. Now, would this one run?
No.
Oh, it won't run it off.
This hasn't been in service since 1957. I mean, it's 80 years ago. No. When you dare try to pressurize the boiler, it stays the static display.
What would it take for it to even...
About $1 million. Maybe.
Now, have you ever seen one of these in person, like,
oh, yeah,
move?
I've watched steam. You know, it's pretty much intact, and that's why we wanted to put it on display here, and it's been painted a couple of times. In 2015, this thing was involved in a collision. I don't know if you remember that.
I heard a little bit about it.
Yeah, a runaway car came down from the Susquehanna yard, hit the front of the locomotive, and pushed it into that stair tower.
Holy moly.
And the insurance company for the railroad paid for the restoration, $126,000.
Jeez. Was there a lot of damage to the...
Oh, yeah.
Was there?
The frame on the tender was bent. Basically, the tender went inside that stair tower. That's a steel framed building there. So it pushed one of the columns off its anchors, and that curtain wall brick came down on top of them.
Holy moly. And I could probably find pictures online or something?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, this was a big deal when this happened. And the same thing in Google, New York Central 6721.
Now, how did you guys get this train here?
Well, we had to have a rigging company, you know, guys with trains in Dayton, Ohio, pick up the locomotive, put it on dollies, and bring it out to a highway, truck it over to a railroad yard at the Norfolk and Southern, and this was put on a flat car, the locomotive itself. The tender got put on a lowboy and was driven here by over the road, because that weighs maybe 20 ton.
Jeez.
On a flat car.
On a flat car?
On a flat car.
So I remember, what's his name was explaining to me, I forget his name, down at the Milford. He was saying that somebody bought that old train, they tried hauling it off, it was way too heavy, so they just dropped it off and just kept it there.
You're talking about the GG1?
Yes.
Yeah. The GG1 down there is an old Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
The problem is that it has not been environmentally cleaned. There are transformers in that thing that have PCBs.
Yeah.
So other railroads will not accept it as transportation.
Okay.
And it probably would have to be disassembled and put on trucks or flat cars and moved. It was supposed to go out to the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn.
Now,
Never happened.
that old building that they bought near there, is it going to be a museum, or?
I'm not sure what Bruce Hodges is doing.
I thought he said they were thinking about doing a museum or something like that out of it.
As far as I know, this is the only New York Central steam locomotive on public display in New York State.
Really?
Yeah, we got it right out here on the water level route, so we're gonna have.
How cool is that?
Yeah,
you know, growing up, I had little trains and stuff, but I wasn't into trains as much as I am now, since learning the history about them and stuff like that, like back in the day.
You mean like keeping these things preserved?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you got to remember, in the 1950s, this was just scrap iron. You know, this stuff, a lot of this got scrapped. This was sold in 1953 by the New York Central Railroad to an electrical generating plant in Illinois. So in 1953, this left the roster of the New York Central and worked for 5 or 6 years at a coal-fired plant in Illinois, and then eventually in 1957 got donated or bought by the Caroline Museum. That's where it ended up for like 50, 60 years. And we got it in 1999, brought it up here in 2000 to put on display back in here.
That's...
They said we bought it for $10,000. It's been about 40 moving it. Then we had to restore it, paint it.
I was gonna say, how did it look when you first got it?
Pretty crappy.
Pretty crappy.
It wasn't stenciled or anything. We worked on the cab. We put windows in the cab, painted it, story. And I guess, yeah, this thing got damaged in 2015.
And the 6721 is original.
No, in 1938, the New York Central reallocated road numbers to most of their steam. I believe this was 621 when it was built in 1913, and then it got renumbered in 1938 and taken off the New York Central roster in 53. By 1953, there was some steam left out in Indiana, in Illinois for the New York Central, but everything lines east here went to diesel by then.
Now I forget if you said it. Pardon me if I get it wrong. When was the last time this was in service?
1957.
1950.
It was pushing coal cars around in a power plant in Illinois.
Jeez.
And it got taken out of service and donated or bought by the museum. So yeah, this thing has not run pressurized or anything. It's got friction bearings. So I mean, this isn't going to run anywhere.
How much horsepower do you would say this would push?
This was geared to work in yards and for like pushing freight cars around. It wasn't built for high speed. You can see the small diameter wheels on it. So this is basically for yard service, local jobs, switching. I don't know offhand the horsepower on it, but it may be 2,000-3,000 horsepower. But again, this thing is geared very low for low speed, moving cars around.
My God.
This was not a road engine. And it survived because it went to a power plant to move coal cars for a power plant.
My God. It's definitely awesome.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to have to go.
Okay.
I have to go to the post office. That's where I was going on when I talked to you.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm so glad that I ran into you.
You got contact information and stuff.
Yep.
There. You can Google this online. And you can
I definitely will. Thank you. So we can see it.
Yeah. There's a sign here for information. It's a class. It's an 060 class B11K. And it's built in Schenectady, so this is local.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
How much? One more quick. I know you gotta go.
Yeah.
How much would something back then cost to build, and then what would it cost today to build? Would you think?
God, I don't know what this cost in New York Central to build in 1913. I really don't know.
Okay.
But, today, you could not find someone to build a steam locomotive in this country. China, 20 years ago, was still building steam locomotives, and you see some of these Chinese.
20 years ago?
Yeah, but you still see some Chinese steam locomotives. They imported them over here when they were going out of steam, back in about 2000. Some of the local tourist railroads bought steam locomotives, and so they're like 20 years old. They're younger than the Amtrak engines. So you see some of them running around here.
It's got to be a sight. I don't think I've ever seen a steam engine actually in person working.
I'm going to be back around 1 o'clock.
Okay.
I'll be back up in the archive room. I got some work to do up there with
Okay.
some other guys.
Thank you very much. He's the one that runs the whole thing. He actually has a room upstairs dedicated to the whole thing.
Really?
Yep. And you would love it going inside there. It has all old pictures, everything. He'll be back at 1 o'clock.
He'll be back at 1 o'clock?
So if he says, if I'm still here and stuff, he'll take, I said, you're coming, and I said, and I tried waving you over, but you must have not seen it. But I thought you were like.
I didn't want to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was him. He's the one that runs the whole thing.
Okay. I didn't want to impede with your audio.
No, that. Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. What an awesome experience. We found a lot about this old steam train. Thank you very much for explaining it for us. I took his card and some pamphlets. I'm going to contact him again. Maybe we could do a part 2. Fingers crossed. But what an awesome day today. I love history. I love how they preserved this steam train. So, and then they put it on display so everybody can see it. Just awesome. But that being said, I can't wait for the next one. Later, guys.